Hello guys, this is me, Dunk again. Um, I was clearing G59 with a Natalya setup, and at that time it was rank 1 in Europe. And I was asked a lot by people how I did that, what spec I used, and how to play that, and especially the question of how to play that is something that comes up all the time. Most people can see the gear, I'm not hiding anything, I don't want to troll anyone, even though sometimes it looks like. Yeah, so let's just go over the spec that I used. It's not my invention basically. I was doing Natalya stuff since ever basically because I just like Strafe and I like the Reign of Vengeance and stuff. Um, and the setup came from the US over to Europe, I think, because there other people were clearing higher levels before people in Europe realized that it's good. But yeah, let's go to the gear and talk about what I used for my 59 and what I can change, and also talk about why I did some decisions I made. Okay, first off, of course, it's the Natalya setup with gloves with crit cooldown reduction, a chest like this, dexterity, hate regen, and Rain of Vengeance damage. Plus this has maximum discipline. This is basically best in slot, it's perfect. You can have a little bit more discipline, whatever, this doesn't matter. The Natalya helm and Natalya boots, both on toughness basically, because the strafe damage that you get there, it's almost irrelevant. Even in highest greater rifts, the toughness that you get from those two slots matters more than the strafe damage bonus matters. Because in fact the strafe damage is it's just like, what is it, 5% to 10% of your damage, single target, and it's really only single target. And I think it's even less than that, so it's not worth it to put anything there. Okay, I have Natalya pants. I didn't have ancient ones when I cleared 59, but this is just something to boost your dexterity basically. I used a Natalya weapon also, of course you need that. In this case I used a non-ancient one because it was just the only one I had. You see the rolls are pretty bad, I didn't even invest much to get 10 cooldown reduction, I just had 9. Low dexterity, whatever, but the offhand doesn't matter that much. And the accompanying item for the Natalya setup is the Crushing Rain Belt, this one here. And here you want to have the maximum damage number for the secondary, because this Crushing Beast is it's sort of a single target. It has some
Should I
area of
find some new
effect,
attire?
but
These old things are
it's
becoming
really
so
instantly
small.
hitting where you're clicking with Rain of Vengeance, and up to 4000% weapon damage that get multiplied by all these boni that you have on Rain of Vengeance. Like in the set bonus, that 100% goes there, and also the 400% in the 6-piece bonus goes there, and your Rain of Vengeance damage bonus that you have. I have 49 in this setup. It all adds up to this here, and this allows me to do critical hits way above 10 billion without ambush. I used the strong arm braces because of the Stampede build that I used. I used the Eye of Etlich with fire and crit, which is it's just the best fire amulet I have, and range damage reduction is just something that fits in nicely. Best in slot would be a Hellfire amulet with one of the passives that you can use for the Natalya setup. We'll talk about the passives later. The shoulders, it's basically random what you use there. There's no item that really is mandatory. There is something many people would consider as best in slot, and that would be the Pauldrons of the Skeleton King here, because it allows you to cheat death if you're lucky enough. Um, yeah, good luck looting a good ancient one of those. I don't like to do bounties that much, and I do have enough rift keys, and I even have more on other characters. It doesn't matter. So I'm not farming those. I just don't do this. Um, and then to the rings, of course, focus and restraint here. In this case, in this setup, I used 2 of them with cooldown reduction. Because I wasn't really thinking about cooldown reduction and stuff. I just was putting on good gear and went like that. I was experimenting in the mid 50s and it worked well. As a matter of fact, I have 48% cooldown reduction, and 46 is some sort of magical mark that you want to hit, because with that you can have a rotation of 3 focus casts of the spender with 1 Rain of Vengeance. So you're strafing, shoot, 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 and then you can cast Rain of Vengeance. Just like that. And if you're hitting targets all the time, this is the ratio that you can get, which is pretty fast. In fact, it's like 2 seconds or even less to reactivate Rain of Vengeance. Okay, the gems are pretty obvious. It's the best friends of the Demon Hunter, basically, Bane of the Trap and Zay Stone of Vengeance. And since keeping up Taeguk is very easy with Strafe, you also use that one. Yeah, there are cooldown reduction variants where you go up to 54% cooldown reduction, and with that you can add Gogok, and then you manage to get to a 2 generator 1 Rain of Vengeance rotation. Shoot, shoot, vengeance, and so on. However, you don't use Taeguk anymore, losing some toughness that sometimes matters actually, and also losing damage on your Rain of Vengeance. And for that you also need cooldown reduction in all slots where you can have it. But yeah, that's just a matter of what people think or feel is the best for them. Everyone can decide for himself. But basically these are the 2 values that you want to reach. Either go for 46% plus a little bit, but don't go below that, or 54 and add Gogok. That's basically it. Okay, the weapon I used for that spec is the Spellfire Caster. It's a pretty good one. No cooldown reduction, as you can see, and as you've seen, that's non-ancient Natalya's offhand Slayer. This is no problem because the damage of Rain of Vengeance and of that Crushing Rain Beast is calculated completely from the main hand, so the more damage you have in the main hand, the more damage does your Rain of Vengeance do. Yeah, I do have some upgraded items now, and I will use them in future runs, because they also allow me to change my rings to some more DPS rings. I have some pairs that give me like 20% more damage in summary. And those are like an Ancient Natalya Slayer. That's something that you always want for the main hand. It's best in slot for the main hand. What you want there is obvious. You want max dexterity, max cooldown reduction, max Rain of Vengeance, and the highest damage number that you can get. And for the offhand, now it's getting a little bit weird for some people, you can either use a Calamity, like this one, which is pretty cool with cooldown reduction and damage to elites, or, which is stronger, a Balefire Caster, like this. It doesn't have a damage roll anymore. I rolled it off for cooldown reduction, and so I have cooldown, resource cost, high dexterity, and fire damage. And this is, as I said, very strong because of because of the fact that Rain of Vengeance and the Crushing Rain belt proc is calculated only from the main hand. So this combination here, see, this boosts me to 54, where I could add Gogok. So this combination here is very strong. And as you can see here, I can either opt for those 2 rings here with cooldown reduction and the Taeguk here, or I remove those 2 rings, and without them I'm exactly at 46%, and that's what I want to achieve. And with that I can use more damage rings, like crit and base damage roll as basically the best that you can get. Alright, that's about the gear and why I did my decisions as I did them, and now let's talk about the skills. Skills are also pretty obvious. It's Evasive Fire Focus because it's the highest hatred regeneration that you can get in a skill. Also, it hits instantly and it hits on a good range. And you don't need to aim properly because it's like 3 different bolts coming out, and you basically always hit with that, no problem. Rain of Vengeance Stampede, of course, it's the bread and butter of that build. You need that, and you need the Stampede especially for solo because this allows you to push mobs to a spot where you want to have them. In a room, for example, you can gather all mobs in one corner, and then with the next Rain of Vengeance you can just smash them because all of them get hit by that proc here with like more than 10 billion critical hits. Okay, and then smokescreen displacement. I was using lingering fog as well, but you need the movement speed because you're strafing, and with strafing you're slower. Like that, and when you run you're a bit faster. So with that, whoops, it's getting a bit faster. That's what you want. I also have strafe, the icy trail here. Oh, there's some argument about what to use and what not to use. I think it doesn't matter much which strafe variant you use, because you can use the drifting shadow for more movement speed, you can use rocket storm for more damage, or yeah, demolition is not that good, or stinging steel, rocket storm, whatever. The damage is pretty irrelevant. So basically you use icy trail or drifting shadow. And I use icy trail because it happens a lot that you have like teleporter elites or jumping winged assassins, whatever. If you see them jumping, you can instantly activate your smoke screen and strafe away from them. And if you do that, they land in that trail, in that frozen trail, and then they get slowed. And this is what you want. You want them to be slow, so you have some more time to reactivate your Rain of Vengeance and push them away and kill them. Okay, preparation focused mind is what I use as well. I use focused mind because of smokescreen. You want to have a lot of discipline so you can move fast and you can avoid damage. And many people are using preparation punishment for hatred regeneration. But as you see, if you do it in a proper rotation, like that, you never run out of hatred. So with an offhand that has cost reduction, if I put the calamity here, it should work as well, but it's not as easy. I prefer the beta because it's just more damage, and cost reduction helps with smokescreen actually. Okay, so prep punishment is not needed. I do have the Wolf Companion as well, it's just adding more damage, and with high cooldown reduction you have a high uptime on that. Okay, that's for the active skills. Passives is also pretty much what you always use with one exception. Cull the Weak, Steady Aim, Awareness. They are friends in almost all builds that we know. Archery as well for crit chance and the hatred regen, it helps a lot. One could argue to replace that with ambush or whatever. It should also be no problem on the hatred cost. Maybe this is better, but as a matter of fact, I would love to have a Hellfire Amulet with ambush or any of the skills in it, so I can use all what I want. This just makes life easier, archery. Okay, and for the gameplay, I have bound the strafe to key number 2, and Rain of Vengeance right click, focus left click, and to do this rotation properly, you need to strafe permanently, so you hold down the strafe key, like that, but you also hold down your force stand still key, and then you just have to click with the left mouse button. That's it, you don't have to do more. Okay, Rain of Vengeance like that, boom, right click where you want it to be. I have bound the force stand still key to the space bar here. Gameplay, force stand still, shift and space in my case, because this is a pretty comfortable position for the hand, and so you don't get cramps in there. Alright, I think I covered all of my gear, I covered the skills. I will talk about the Enchantress as well, because this is the follower I choose. You could theoretically use the Templar or the Scoundrel, but I don't like those two that much anymore. The Templar is healing, but you don't need healing because either way, you either survive that or you're dead, and if you survive, it doesn't matter. And also the Templar is always disengaging. You want the enemies, if you're fighting, the ideal case is that the enemies are on the upper left side of your screen or on the upper right side. Because as you can see, when you shoot there, it doesn't look like it would hit there, but you're actually hitting there. And you also see the strafe bolts going out far away, and so you're hitting targets even when they're very far away. And that's where you want to have your enemies. But if the enemies are there in that corner or in the other corner, that means that the Templar is disengaging. He's not doing anything anymore. The Enchantress is doing something. She's staying close to you and she's attacking all the time. And therefore I have her, and she uses Thunder Fury because this proc of the Thunder Fury, it happens pretty often, and it slows the targets. That's what I want, slowing. So I can so she activates my Bane of the Trapped and Call the Weak. I have any random attack speed and S of Johan. So basically S of Johan, Thunder Fury, Immortality, and all the control, crowd control skills that she has. That's what you want on her, and she's really best for the setup. All right, that's about the builds. It's not something. It's not a secret. And now I will show you some gameplay parts of Greater Rift runs in 50 to 53 I did. You can see that full video without any comments in my YouTube channel as well, and I hope you enjoy that. Alright, this now is the first part of that. It's showing some gameplay with Icy Trails and how to control some runes. You see, I'm always positioning myself right at the wall. Always go at the wall if it's possible, and if you have to move a lot, like I have to be there because the pack I'm fighting is teleporting with fire chains and shielding, you use smoke screen all the time. And if you enter a new room, you should also use smoke screen all the time. Because sometimes you just don't see the enemies in there and they instantly proc awareness. See here, mistake, bam, awareness proc. Okay, the next one is about skipping and reflect. This is a reflect pack. You want to skip reflect packs whenever it's possible. You see, I completely stop shooting, I'm not doing anything, I want to run away, and here I realize, oh, it's a shielding pylon, so I go on, I go back and try to kill them. I'm moving out to have a good angle for my Rain of Vengeance casts. I want to push them all together, all into that one room, but it's not always happening like that. So usually if you don't find the shield pylon in the perfect time, you have to skip reflect. There's not much you can do about that. And as you have seen, skipping is done by activating smokescreen and strafing through those enemies. Okay, here I run out of hatred and discipline as well, which is a mistake. It should never happen, but it does. And that stuff. You go through a door, you don't see the enemy, and then you're dead. Just like that, because I didn't use smokescreen. Alright, the next video is about fighting an elite. Again with Thunderstorm, you have seen that I can easily take the first hit on Greater Rift level 53 this year. This goes up to 59 or 60 even, but with at least some toughness that you can really survive that. And see, I'm also taking hits from Thunderstorm and Electrified here. It's okay, Natalya's give you a lot of toughness. What you have to do when you're fighting yellows, you have to stay at distance if it's possible, and you have to try and always hit them with the Crashing Rain proc. Because if you don't, you lose a lot of damage. You already lose damage because you can't knock back. Okay, and now I try to enter that next room. See, I'm casting, strafing, casting, and now I'm again in the corner of the room trying to clear one side and then pushing the monsters to the other side. You always have to do it like that if you enter a room, always. You go to a wall, and if it happens that the enemies are very, very close, you also should cast Rain of Vengeance right to your feet. But so that the beasts are going in the direction where you want the mobs to be. This is something very important about that build. You have crowd control here, so you have to use it. Get used to it and make the best out of that. So, next room, try to push them into that room, go to the corner and push them in the next corner. On a lower level like 53, which is a low level for Natalia, they die very fast, so you can't see the pushing that well, but I think it's pretty obvious what I did there. Okay, the next one is the next short clip is about fighting in a room where you have some big issues. This is also basically something that you can't really do with the slow ball setup, because these are wallers and you have a door area with a small with a hole inside. You have plates, so you can't stand still all the time. With a slow ball setup, you wouldn't have a good chance to clear that, because yeah, you need to move more than you can with a slow ball. Also, your damage is coming too slow. It's slow balls. Okay. You see, I have taken even a melee hit here in 53 and I survived that. Plate all over the place, but you can stand that with Natalya. That's in your with Wallace, you have to take care that you go around them, because if you don't hit the enemies, you don't recover, you don't reset the cooldown again. Alright, and the next one, that's basically fighting a nightmare. What I fight here in this 52 is something that instantly kills you if you are doing if you're slow ball or even M6, but M6 is a little bit better. Because see these ghosts here? These ghosts, they are fast electrified, thunderstorm and teleport. And you can't really survive that. You can't hit them properly with slow ball, and they're teleporting on you, they're fast, so you cannot get rid of them, but with the Stampede it works. See? Always go in distance and try to control them if possible. And don't mind those mini-maps popping up, because sometimes I do some clicking mistakes when I'm tired and stuff. It happens. It shouldn't happen too much, and it shouldn't happen in the highest level. Alright, that's about that pack. And the next one, that's really ugly, because in the next video I will fight on a map that you hate with that spec, because it doesn't have walls, and you fight against mobs that you hate, ghosts again, and in this case this is a yellow ghost, and here you can see what even teleporting, and you can see what I was telling earlier, that you have to stay at this far away. Try to keep them in your upper left or upper right corner if possible, and it's not possible all the time. You will die, it happens, but it's not that bad in the lower levels. 52 in this case. Okay, cooldown timer on death, whatever. I don't know why they don't just add this number to your time and then you can revive instantly. Okay. See, dropped awareness again. This happens, you can't avoid it, especially if you have crappy mobs like that, and you can't clear highest levels with mobs like that, it doesn't work. Alright, enjoy some more of the gameplay, especially against the Rift Guardians, and good night, goodbye, see you next time.